Hey guys, and welcome to Tnashi's Movie Corner. So, for today's video, I wanted to talk a little bit about everything going on with Suicide Squad and the uh, the DCEU, and what have you. Because, well, frankly, as I said last time in my spoilers review, which you can go check out if you haven't, but the movie opened and it did really well. Broke August box office records, outperformed Guardians of the Galaxy for opening week and Deadpool for opening week. Whether that maintains itself or not, we'll see. At the time I'm recording this, I don't yet know the numbers for this current weekend. So, that being said, there's a lot of people that were disappointed in the movie, myself included. There's a lot of people that love the movie. And of course, there's certainly a lot of people that hated the movie. I mean, unless it's changed, and I'm actually going to look real quick while I'm talking to you guys, but it was at 26% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. So, it's gone to 27% now. So, it's dead even with Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, which is, a lot of people are suggesting because of this, that means that the movie is a bad movie because the critics say it's a bad movie. Well, that's fine. Some of the critics who are part of Rotten Tomatoes, or not part of, but some of the critics that get pulled into the Rotten Tomatoes tomato meter to count for it, you have to pick, a certain rating, and it will then classify you as fresh or rotten because of that. So we look at the number, we actually have 75 critics ranked it fresh. It got a fresh rating. 204 did rotten. So, and it's quite a difference out of 279 total. And it says the average rating is a 4.7 out of 10, which is not good. But you get movies that do that. Doesn't necessarily mean the movie is good or bad. It's all, it's all opinion. I mean, if we look at Jason Bourne, for instance, let's go to that one. Jason Bourne is at a 57%, which is actually a rotten score. It's got 134 fresh and 102 rotten, so I'm not really sure how that factors in there, because it actually shows more fresh, but I guess it's just not enough to boost it up. Then you got, Secret Life of Pets at 74% fresh, or Star Trek Beyond 84%. Ghostbusters was 74%, and I said my thoughts about that film. But you can't always just go by and you shouldn't. You should never just go by what, critics say or what the tomato meter says. If you're interested in the movie, go see the movie. Right? Anyway, like I said, I've said my thoughts about it. But here's one thing I do not like. There was an article that came out in Collider that says Harley Quinn deserves better than Suicide Squad. Now, initially I thought, okay, I could probably see where they're coming from here. I personally, Harley Quinn, I really enjoyed Margot Robbie in that role. I don't know why it would just be her, but that's where we're going. So I was like, okay, I'll go ahead and read it, find out a little bit more information on it. Well, here's one of the things it says, okay? It says, it would have been enough but for the fact that the film is almost uniformly terrible to women, and to Harley Quinn in particular. And as a female viewer, it's absolutely disheartening to watch. So, the article itself takes a turn. She goes into how she grew up and how she saw women perceived in films, and talking about the change that happened where female action heroes started to come back in. And she says while there's still that, a kind of sexism that was around, say in the 90s. It's usually a lot more subtle than what we see in Suicide Squad. So she goes on to say that Amanda Waller is a triumph, but that's pretty much the only amount of inclusion of Amanda Waller that she does with this film. She's talking about June being a frustrating, feeble non-character. Enchantress is a gyrating emblem of tribalism. Katana isn't allowed to speak for herself, despite the reveal that she's fluent in English. And women are used regularly as punchlines, and even the female characters are deadbeats like Deadshot's wife, and plot points like Diablo's wife. And she goes into Harley Quinn, talking about Harley Quinn's kind of backstory and her victimization and everything. And the thing is, I don't appreciate articles like this. Like, again, it's her opinion. She says her opinion. But she basically goes off into saying that Harley Quinn is kind of mishandled in this movie. Harley Quinn is not. She shows signs of being a strong female character, but she's not a strong female character. And she goes on to say that there aren't strong female characters basically in this film. So I thought I'd address that a little bit, and I'm gonna try to do it in a way that's a little more criticism, but respectful, instead of what the comments have been, because on their actual page, through the comments and through Facebook when it was posted, there's been a lot of comments, a lot of outcry and anger over this, which I can understand that. Certainly I don't appreciate it either. But at the same time, when you go down to a lot of name calling and bashing and everything, you're not really helping, get your point across. If anything, you're putting a validation in people's minds of why she makes the point she does. So I wanted to get into it just a little bit, so let's go ahead and do that. First off, and I'm going to try to skirt around spoilers if I can, so you don't have to worry, but I'm going on the assumption that most of you have seen the movie. Hopefully that's true. If not, go check it out for yourself. So let's go with Amanda Waller, because she just throws Amanda Waller in there. It is a throwaway line. It's a one-line thing. And then she reverts the whole thing, basically saying that the whole thing has full of sexism and weak female characters. And again, don't appreciate that. But that's basically what she goes into. She kind of dismisses that Amanda Waller is there. She acknowledges that she's the exception to the rule, but that's it. Amanda Waller is one of the strongest points for Suicide Squad. I think people that even, didn't like the movie itself thought that she was a good character. And even still, just for me personally, I feel like she was really a good character. She was in many ways the villain of the film. She was a strong woman that did, and I don't even like saying that. She was a strong character that did what she had to, or what she felt like she had to do in order to keep alive, in order to move forward with the operation, in order to get things accomplished. So there's a lot of things with that where she someone tries to talk back to her and she knocks them down a peg. That to me is a strong character, a character that's just like, if I have to, I'll pick up the gun and do stuff myself. If you capture me, okay, do what you will, kind of thing. So, and she's one of the not main characters necessarily, I don't know if I'd go that far, but she has such a strong presence in the film and you feel that presence even when she's not on the screen. So for me, that's an easy identification of a strong character. Going with Katana and the whole she can't speak for herself kind of thing, that's not true. I mean, she, even in her intro, when she's being introduced to people, and by the way, the squad themselves were introduced by someone else to the audience first. So this is, again, another introduction to the audience. That's the purpose of it. I think you're missing the point there, when you're like, oh, well, she can't speak for herself, because just after her little introduction, she does speak for herself, and she doesn't have many lines of dialogue. I'll grant you that. She's more of the silent type of character, but guess what? Those type of characters exist. Just because she's female doesn't mean she can't be the silent, strong type, and she pulls her weight as far as the action is concerned. We see a little bit of her history. She had a few lines of dialogue she does have, I think, kind of resonate because they're few, so you're kind of hooked on to what she's saying. So I don't see her being a weak character at all. Going along, with, say, Enchantress, at least from a plot perspective, can't possibly be a weak character. So if you're just talking about the construction of her outfit, I don't think sexuality in itself is an indication of a weak character, and so I don't understand where that's coming from for me. I mean, I don't know. I don't feel that. I don't understand that. So moving on from there to Harley Quinn, she goes on to talk about a lot of kind of thread points as far as Harley's origins and everything, and her relationship with the Joker, which is fine. And talking about the Joker, coming into as a white knight swooping in to rescue his damsel, as she puts it. Which, yes, Joker in this was kind of used as a backdrop to Harley, but it also helped to build in Harley's character, so we understood where her character was coming from, why the changes occur that they do, and everything else. Now, I'm going to get into a little spoiler here, because it goes in, and this is a quote now from the article, and I'll link the article down if you want to read it. But in a final twist of the knife, Suicide Squad reveals that Harley's greatest desire is to play suburban housewife to a reformed Joker, stripped of all the intoxicating insanity that defines them. A woman who abandons the security of a promising medical career to cavort alongside a murderous madman, a woman who tattoos her face in that madman's image and licks her lips at the prospect of heavy casualties, is not a woman who dreams of white picket fences. If there's one thing Harley's never been, it's vanilla. To reduce Harley Quinn's greatest ambition to Nancy Meyers' flavored domestically, or domesticity, God, is to undermine all the delicious hot-blooded madness we've come to love from Gotham's queen of the criminal underground. So, I want to just put a nail in the coffin right here, and by you're implying here that she's never had this kind of dream of being with Joker, having kids, being that kind of wife, mother figure, right? She's never had that. That's what you're saying. It's changing her to do so. It's taking away who she is to do so. However, the creator of her character, being in the original 90s animated show, Batman show, that's when we first saw her. Well, guess what? There was Return of the Joker, which is a sequel show to that show, right? And it's a movie spinoff from Batman Beyond, the sequel show. And in that, they kidnap Robin and they turn Robin into a little Joker. And she says in that movie that she, despite how twisted it was to turn him, she was going to make it right. That she was going to love him. That they were going to be one big happy family. So that's what she wanted. So I don't see how you're reducing Harley Quinn. In fact, in many ways, you're showcasing that through underneath all that insanity, there is actually a glimmer of hope there, because the same thing is to want a normal life. She wants, deep within her subconscious, she wants this normal life. But she doesn't think she can get it, which goes into some conversations she has in the bar about what they deserve. So that kind of reiterated itself in her character. We see that. Also, there'd be nothing wrong with wanting that at all. So I don't get that either. And the whole thing about it is, you can even go with the whole grass is greener aspect of it if you wanted. She was intrigued by the Joker because of his insanity in a way, because of how he carried himself, because of what words he was saying, right? She was, as a psychologist, it was something that really fascinated her and drew her in. However, now she's on the other side of that mirror, right? And she's having this reflection of being that type of character. So you want what you can't have. You want, in a way, you want something that's out of reach. In your opinion, that's the whole grass is greener on the other side, because she's now in that spot, because she's now adapted that type of character. She looks at what she left, or potentially what she could have had, and she deep down kind of wants that. So I don't find that, and if anything, I find that that gives a layer of complexity to her character, despite her just being, insane and fun and everything else. I don't see that as being something that should be contrived as a problem with her character, or an indication that she is a weak character at all, because she wants a normal life. I mean, with Deadshot and with his, kind of daughter, in a way, he's the same thing. So is he a weak character because of that, or is she a weak character because she's a woman? So you're going to say she's weak, even though they both kind of want the same thing, in a way. And anyway, so I don't understand that part of it. Even her conversion into being Harley Quinn, even her origin itself, was a little different from what we saw in the original show. And it took kind of an element of the original show, and it took an element of one of the graphic novels, which had a different spin on her origin too, and it kind of combined them both a little bit and changed it up in the process. But she is presented several times in the film as a strong female character. I mean, she's been there for her comrades several times. In fact, she showcased how strong she was with just a bat and a pistol. And her when she's dealing with stuff and choosing not to show it, to maintain that kind of strong presence that she had, that fun presence. So I don't think in any shape or form she can be defined as a weak character. She actually has a lot more complexity to her than what one would think just based on the paper. So I don't see that at all. I don't see June being a strong character. First, June isn't in the movie that much. It's not focused on that aspect of the character at all. It's focused, it's focused more on Enchantress. But the part that June's in is so small in comparison to that, and doesn't do enough. I don't even know that you can include her in this type of talk. So, as far as plot points are concerned, this is what really bugs me, because Diablo's wife is a plot point, and she's using this to clever. Oh, well, she must be weak. Diablo's wife was not a weak character at all. She was a very strong woman. You could see that in the interactions that they had. Also, his kids were involved too. So you're going to involve the kids, or you're going to leave them out because we're just focusing on the women part of it, right? And yes, Deadshot's wife had, you had that happen with what happens with Deadshot's wife being included in the film, but that's because we're looking at their characters' past. In general, even Joker himself was used as more of a plot point to explain Harley's origin, and then just had more of a presence in the movie because it's Joker. So things like this bug me because it's kind of like it's like a feminism type of view on it. And I'm all for strong female characters in movies. Like, that's fine. But one thing that irritates me is if you have female characters with weak moments, then they're distinguished as weak female characters because they have these moments of weakness, of character flaws or something like that. Female characters don't have to be perfect. They can have, complex backgrounds, histories. Their decision making doesn't have to always be spot on. And in fact, you can have a female character that actually is kind of the damsel in distress. You don't have to veer so far away from that. That can happen from time to time. You're going to get in situations where you kind of need that. Someone has to be saved. It can't always be the guy to be saved. It shouldn't always be the girl to be saved. The whole point is to have balance in it. So when you go in with this type of mindset of, oh, well, this can't happen just because they're female, that doesn't make sense. And we're gonna go with Batgirl now in Killing Joke. I'm gonna switch over real quick because there was another issue came up. Batgirl was said to be a weak female character. Why? Well, because she was complaining a lot. Well, she was complaining because of the situation she was in with Batman and how he was treating her, and yet her feelings were complicating it. But guess what? Nightwing had a very similar type of encounter with Batman, minus the rooftop shenanigans. But Robin had a very similar encounter. That's why he left and became Nightwing. So just because she's frustrated about it, just because she's complaining about it, doesn't make her a weak character. In fact, she showcased strength in one of the fight scenes. I'm sorry I'm getting into spoilers with Killing Joke, but in one of the fight scenes with one of the early on villains, she gets drugged. She's in a vulnerable situation, but she, quick thinking, puts herself in a vault, right? So that she is stuck in there and able to kind of sleep off the gas or whatever. I forget what it was, but whatever she was given, she was able to sleep it off. That to me is strong. Okay, she makes the move on Batman romantically. She initiates that. It's not a weak woman. She's showcasing her feelings. She's taking the chance. She's doing the move. And in many ways, that's kind of a strength to be able to do that, because you're opening yourself up in that way. You're seizing the moment, kind of thing. And by the way, she saves Batman later on, and she beats that guy she lost to later on. So she does all these things. If anything, Killing Joke showcased to me that she can be strong, and she had more of her story than just being a simple plot point like she was in the Killing Joke, which, by the way, I love the Killing Joke, but that's all she was there for. And this added more to it. This showcased more to it. So I don't find her a weak character. I don't find these characters in Suicide Squad weak characters. Would I have liked to have seen more of some of them? Sure, but are they weak? No, they're not weak. I mean, come on now. And if we want to go into the aspects of, well, the way they're dressed, I want to maintain Amanda Waller, she's dressed in a suit. That's how she dresses. Katana she doesn't have anything that really overly sexualizes. Harley Quinn does, but that's because that's the type of character she is. June Moon doesn't have that type of attire at all. Enchantress does. So essentially you got two characters that do. And look back at, say, Black Widow. Look what she was wearing. I mean, come on now. If you're gonna judge something based on that, you gotta look at it from the aspect of all these apply to all these characters too. You gotta hold everything accountable to it. So I just find articles like this to be a little ridiculous. I don't enjoy them. I don't appreciate them. They don't make sense to me personally, because it's like we must have been seeing two different movies. And again, I thought what I did with Suicide Squad, I didn't love the movie. So I'm not saying all this because, I love the movie and I have, these rose colored glasses on or whatever that, only let me see this stuff. I see the movie. I see the problems with the movie. This stuff to me is just it's not a problem. So anyway, that's carried on a long time. I apologize for that. But those are my thoughts. I will also be doing a video real soon going over some of the trailers I missed and just what I thought about them. So hopefully y'all look forward to that. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this vid. Click that like button, share, subscribe to my channel, and watch my other vids. Also, if I have a video up, I have a few videos up that have less than stellar views. Maybe you guys can go and help me out here and watch some of that. Go watch my spoiler talk for Suicide Squad. We go into a lot more. We have some fun with it too. I also have a July comic bento unboxing and Lights Out, which I had fun doing. So if you haven't seen those, please go check those out. Furthermore, there's a new movie tournament. There's a video that will be discussing that, and hopefully you guys go and comment on that. Anyway, like I said, hopefully you enjoyed it, and until next time, peace.